podcast that forgot to put anything in the show docs until just a few minutes ago. We're one Saints fan and one Cowboys fan, one fan of Who Dat, and one fan of Dat Win. We're here to give weekly takes, game recaps, bad betting picks, game previews, and the occasional Seinfeld reference.
This week, our patron Saint/Cowboy is wide receiver Kenneth Duckett. Kenneth Wayne Duckett was born October 1st, 1959 in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And he unfortunately passed away April 15th, 1998. He was a star in multiple sports at Richard J. Reynolds High School, earning All-State and All-American honors in football and baseball, despite being diagnosed with diabetes in the 10th grade. He continued to play through health challenges, finished his high school football career with over 2,000 total yards and 20 touchdowns, and was even selected by the LA Dodgers in baseball. Duckett accepted a scholarship to Wake Forest University, where he transitioned from running back to receiver, became a key offensive player. He endured early injuries, including 2 ankle breaks and a knee sprain, but still put together strong seasons, especially as a junior when he recorded 50 receptions and 12 touchdowns, which were school and conference records. Excuse me. By the end of his collegiate career, he had amassed significant receiving and return statistics and set several Wake Forest records in kickoff returns and touchdown receptions. 1982 NFL Draft, Duckett was selected in the 3rd round by the New Orleans Saints, though concerns about his diabetes affected his draft stock. He spent most of his professional career with the Saints as a kickoff returner and reserve receiver, finishing with 34 catches for 503 yards and 4 touchdowns, along with notable return yardage. After he was waived in 1985, he briefly joined the Dallas Cowboys, where he contributed as a kickoff returner in the postseason before being released in 1986. Off the field, Duckett was active in diabetes advocacy and contributed to the American Diabetes Association in Forsyth County. His health continued to be impacted by diabetes after his playing days, developing kidney failure in the early 1990s. He died from complications related to renal failure at the age of 38, leaving behind a legacy of perseverance in both collegiate and professional football. So, we salute to Mr. Kenneth Duckett. I'm Paul, the Saints fan.
I'm Brendan, the Cowboys fan.
We're your host, Izzy. Tell them what time it is.
Yeah, that's it. It's go time. Let's see you lift that.
Mr. Mandelbaum, please.
It's go time.
This one's for you, Pop. It's go time.
It's go time.
Ooh.
You've been married 3 times.
That's it. It's go time. It's go time.
All right. So Brandon is back this week. Again, thanks so much. Thanks so much to Ross Jackson for joining us. We got to get you know what would be really cool is we need to get Ross and Landon on a show together.
Let them duke it out for Locked On Supremacy.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, I like this idea. But yeah, we greatly appreciate Ross's time and insights on the show last week. Before we'll get into some stuff here in a minute, but let's do a few housekeeping items. You can email the show, blessthemboys@gmail.com, BLESSDEMBOYZ. We're on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at bless_dem_boys. I'm at Paul Elliott _316. Brandon is at Ball from Grace. Have you checked out Blue Sky lately, Brandon?
I actually have, because a lot of the friends that I made at the soccer conference about a month ago are on Blue Sky more than X. And so I have been checking in a little bit more frequently on there and posted some model stuff I did on some Italian soccer stuff. So I have been skeeting, not to get too personal on the show. I'm out.
That's your business. That's between you and yourself.
I'm no longer master of my domain.
I'm out
in the social media sphere. But I have gotten on briefly, but still not like as much as I'd like. Twitter still has. Let me tell you, with World War III on the brink, the memes are much better over on X.
Oh, okay.
I will tell you that much.
Yeah, I did have to laugh at the one meme of like Lane Kiffin has decided to leave LSU and become the new Ayatollah, and I was like, okay, that's it. That's enough.
Did you see
enough internet for today?
There was a community note that somebody posted the picture of the community, and it said Allah protect him, and then the community note was Allah did not protect him.
Getting political here this week.
if we're going down, I'm going down looking at some good memes. That's all I gotta say.
Fair enough. All right. If you're watching along with us, and thank you first of all. If you haven't stopped watching by now, check us out on YouTube. You can also check us out on Spotify and Apple. Leave a rating and review, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell the bots. We will get to a little bit of football talk. We'll kind of recap the combine. We'll talk free agency, franchise tags. The deadline was today, so we'll talk about one of our teams was impacted by that. So we'll talk about that. But first, we here at Bless Dem Boyz do pride ourselves on being able to discuss other things.
But enough about fish. I can discuss other things, you know.
Well, Brandon, we were, since you were out last week, I imagine you've got quite a few things you might want to discuss. So
yeah, so
take it away.
Most of my time was taken up just doing like family things. So I was out last Wednesday. We were originally planning to do the show with Ross on Tuesday, normal time. Like that had to get pushed back. Ross's schedule. But my oldest child had her on that Wednesday, had her crossover from Cub Scouts into the real Scouts. So she's up to, it's Scouts of America now, because it's not just Boy Scouts.
Okay.
I will say I do want to go on this podcast and make a statement that I think it's time that we end the inequality and allow the Boy Scouts to sell the Girl Scout cookies. It's not fair that they that they don't get to sell the cookies. Everyone knows the cookies are easier to move.
You got to look.
They bring it.
Look to the cookie.
Look to the cookie. Yeah.
You got to look to the cookie.
So that's my political stance here, is that we believe that all Scouts, regardless of race, religion, creed, Brocky.
Keep going.
Whatever,
I mean, you might as well
should be allowed to sell the cookies. So that's what I was doing last Wednesday. So you were recording with Ross. I have popped on a couple of episodes when I've just needed some background noise. I've popped on Suburgatory because I can just put it on Netflix now. So I've done that.
Yep.
Also,
I have watched a few episodes. I'm up through. Right. I think I've watched 4 total now.
Okay. What episode is, like, what happened in the episode?
So the last episode I remember watching, the neighbor across the street, her dolls were stolen.
Yes.
And then the lead actress, she tries to say, well, you know, if you really want to teach me a lesson, we should just move back to New York. And the dad totally sniffs it out and it's like, oh, well, you know, and so, yeah. So it was that was the last episode I remember. It's good. So the daughter of Cheryl Hines on the show,
Dahlia,
yeah. For a little while, I thought it was Kat Dennings, but it's not Kat Dennings. It's the girl she's on Mr. Robot. She was Rami Malek's sister on Mr. Robot. She played.
I never saw Mr. Robot. I knew she was in some other stuff, but she's so deadpan all the time. Like, it's just the other thing is, you know, the dentist guy, Noah, his buddy. Yeah.
Okay,
so he does a lot of voice acting work. He is actually the one that I remember the most. Is he was Hey who is the chicken on
Oh yeah,
on Moana. Yes,
Alan Tudyk. Yeah,
yeah. He's like in a lot of stuff. He has a show, he had
he's
a
got
show
that
on Sci-Fi.
the Alien show. Yeah, where he's
yeah, which I used to see commercials for every time I would watch Twilight Zone during their marathons.
Yeah.
So watch some of that. My wife and I managed to squeeze in The Devil Wears Prada, the original. Actually, not a movie that I would just like go back and watch over and over again, but like not a bad movie. It's not like it's not excessively chick flicky. I don't think.
No,
it's a pretty solid film, I think.
What was your? Did you have a favorite performance in the movie? Or is it all
no? Not that. It was so weird seeing Emily Blunt. That sort of character.
So I think I talked about this when I watched it. I first saw her in like A Quiet Place, Edge of Tomorrow, Sicario, like those roles. So watching this, because this was like her breakout role, I believe. And so going back and watch, to your point, is like it's really weird.
This is not what I picture Emily Blunt as, right? Just because of the roles that she plays now, and that what I come to know her as. She's also because she's also the new Mary Poppins in the sequel to that. I don't know if you ever saw that. Did you ever see that?
I didn't. No, I did not know that. You know, Emily, she did celebrate a birthday recently, and I watched a movie I had not seen with her. Is The Fall Guy. So Ryan Gosling.
I heard awesome things. I heard like everyone that saw that said it was really good. Like
it's very good. It's long. It's like almost 2.5 hours long. So I mean, settle in. But but no, it's good. She's good. So yeah.
There was a new album release that I wanted to talk about that came out a couple of weeks ago. Album title The Refrigerator by Remember Sports.
Oh, okay.
So don't let this get out, but the band is from Philadelphia. Yeah, I know. We got to be careful. Philadelphia, actually, their music scene is actually pretty good, unfortunately.
Okay.
The one thing that they actually do well, I'll give them credit for that.
There it is.
Everything else, no. So that was pretty good. I felt like there was a stretch in the middle where they like all the songs sort of like blended together and nothing really stood out. But I think on the ends, like the start of the album and kind of like more toward the back, it was pretty solid. Probably not their best work, but it was nice that they had put something out, because it felt like a while since they had put anything like a full album out. So that was good. Have you seen that? And I'll save this for last. So the other thing was this weekend, my daughter and I recorded a podcast. We actually used Riverside.
Okay.
So her podcast is about desserts from around the world, called Sweet Travels. Our first episode was about Black Forest cake, which it's scary. I'm in the forest. Do you remember that?
Yeah, from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Isn't that? Doesn't he tell? I can't remember if this is on Seinfeld or if it's on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. But Jerry has this joke about the guy. This guy's like terminally ill, and he travels all the way to Bavaria for this like piece of cake. And they're like, sorry. I'll just have whatever. It's like,
yeah. That was on Seinfeld. Yeah. So we had we did Black Forest cake this week.
So on the episodes, do you guys just talk about the dessert?
So what we did was we had her like do some research about, like, she checked out a book from the library and found one, and we made it, and then we tried it, and then I also had her like do some research on like the area where it came from and how it like where the recipe came from, and then like interesting facts about like the area. So like the Black Forest is like associated with like the Grimm's fairy tales.
Okay.
And then also Cuckoo Clocks, and then one of the Goosebump books that she like really likes. It's also one of my favorite Goosebumps books. Actually, has a tie, like mentions the Black Forest. So we talked about that, and so it was a quick episode, like 4 minutes. So 90 pages.
So is this? So can we officially launch the Bless Dem Boys podcast network now? Is that what we're doing?
I think that's what we got to do. I think we are an official podcast network.
I'll see if I'll see if I can get someone someone over here to start a show.
We can ride my kids' coattails as we said. So we do have more YouTube followers so far, but she has passed us already on Spotify.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it.
And then the other thing was, as I mentioned before on this show, I'm making my way through the oeuvre of Shakespeare. I'm up to 17 out of 36 original plays read. I finished Much Ado About Nothing, which is pretty solid. Merry Wives of Windsor, didn't really care for it. And The Taming of the Shrew. Taming of the Shrew was okay. I would say the Much Ado About Nothing is the best of those.
Every time I hear Taming of the Shrew, have you seen the movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
A long time ago.
Okay. There's a joke in there. So the premise of the movie, he's this self-made millionaire whose son is in college, and his son's kind of having a tough go of it. So he decides to enroll in college to like hang out with his son, basically. And he's in the bookstore, and he's getting his books for the semester, and he's like, yeah, I'll take a couple of these and a couple of that, and and all this. I tell you what, Shakespeare for everybody. And then he looks at the lady, the gal that's like checking him out. She says, "Oh, I'd like to tame your shrew."
Okay, gotcha.
So, but that's sorry. I did not to disrespect. To disrespect William Shakespeare.
If it makes you feel any better, that's definitely not going to make my top 10 Shakespeare plays. So, I will say, I think was it Anyone But You or Anybody But You or something? The movie with like Sydney Sweeney that came out recently.
Anyone But You, I believe is the name of it.
Yeah, and so I think that movie is like roughly based or loosely based on Much Ado About Nothing.
Okay.
So I'm thinking.
Well, there is. This ties into my Denzel watch along because he is in an adaptation of Much Ado About Nothing that I.
There we go. See
that I have not been able to use yet. Spoiler alert for what I'll talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention, I think it comes out next Friday, but there's a movie from A24 coming out called Undertone. Have you seen the preview for this?
I have. I've seen it on. Yeah,
it looks fantastic. I know you're not a scary movie guy, but I'm going to try to go see this when it comes out in theaters.
Yeah, this one looks unsettling.
It does
because it's basically. I think they're advertising it like. It's scary because of the sounds, not so much of the.
It's not visual, but
it's more of a tonal horror movie, I guess.
It'll really fit in with this podcast because on the show she does a podcast, and that's how like everything sort of starts. So hopefully it doesn't scare me off from doing the show anymore.
Well, I mean, I could always call Ross. Ross, we may not be able to do it every week, but
So that's I did want to mention I pulled this shirt out of the closet for today. This is I ordered this from Corsica over off the coast of Italy.
Okay.
A few years back. So, but I was looking at this team was originally they're how they have like promotion and relegation in soccer. And so if you fail, you can start sliding. So this team had been, when I was following along with them, so it comes from like it's on the island of Corsica in the city where Napoleon was born. So I was like, I'm going to follow along with this team. And they were pushing to try to get up to the top flight of the French league. They always just like barely missed out. I looked the other day, all of their matches have been like canceled, and they've been like, because of financial issues, they've been demoted to the 7th league, which is like the bottom tier. So that so this is a collector's item now.
It's a real Ted Lasso situation going on there.
Yeah, they need Ted Lasso. I think that Ted Lasso might be the only one who could save their club right now. So that's about it for me. What did you? We got some movies to catch up on, I would expect.
Yeah. Well, I have a series first to talk about. So I think last year, folks might remember, I talked about the show Paradise that was on Hulu, starring Sterling K. Brown. They came back for season 2, so they dropped 3 episodes 2 Mondays ago. So not yesterday as we're recording this, but the previous Monday. And then they dropped the 4th episode yesterday. So my wife and I we caught up with that, and it's still excellent. I mean, it really is nice to see it keeps getting better. You know, I talked about, I think when I started watching the show last year, it reminded me of shows I'd seen in the past where they would start out really strong, but then they just kind of fizzle out at some point. This isn't that. This is still going pretty good. So I would recommend, if folks haven't checked it out, give it a shot. So I did catch up on 2 movies from 2025. One is called Eternity. This is an Apple TV movie. I think it was in theaters for a brief period of time, but now it's on Apple TV streaming. Stars Elizabeth Olsen, Miles Teller, and Caleb Turner. Elizabeth Olsen's character passes away, and she goes to the afterlife. And in this version of the afterlife, you have a week to select which eternity you want to spend the rest of eternity in. And you have all these different options. It's almost like it's set up like a convention. Like, you know, when you go to a convention and like people are trying to sell you different things. There's like one of the shows, it was like the smoker's eternity, and the tagline was "Cancer can't kill you twice" or something like that. It's like,
okay, that's like Kramer. But everybody's face looks like a baseball mitt,
right?
So it's
so Elizabeth Olsen gets to this afterlife, and she is greeted by her husband, who passed away like a week before she did, and then her first husband, who died when very young, like went off to war, died young, and then she remarried. So she essentially has to pick like which of these 2 does she want to spend, and they're played by respectively Miles Teller and Caleb Turner. Caleb Turner is the younger husband who passed away, went to war and passed away, and then Miles Teller is her, like, she was married to for 60 years, you know. And so I don't normally get emotional anymore with movies. I don't know. Just, I'm a callous person or something. I don't know what it is.
Dead inside.
Yeah, pretty much. But this one got to me a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. It kind of, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just the right part of the day when I watched. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. But I would definitely recommend it if you have Apple TV. If you're gonna check out Ted Lasso or Shrinking. I have to catch up on Shrinking season 3 too, but yeah, I would definitely check it out. You talked about scary movies. I did watch a scary movie from, I think it technically was released last year, but was in theaters early this year. It's called Primate. Have you heard of this movie?
The name sounds familiar. I don't remember what it was about.
So
obviously,
yeah, so
monkeys involved. I would.
There is a monkey involved. So this young woman is coming home for college. She's bringing her friend, and her friend has invited a third person who, unbeknownst to this young woman, so kind of a third wheel, I guess. Mm-hmm. And she's going home to Hawaii. So she lives in Hawaii with her dad, who's like an author, but her dad is deaf, and he's played by an actual deaf person. If you saw the movie Coda, which was up for a bunch of Oscars a couple of years ago, he is one of the guys in that movie who again, he's legitimately death. So but they
did they ask him to sweep alone?
Yeah, right. They did. But you find out that they have a pet chimpanzee named Ben.
Okay.
And at some point, Ben contracts rabies, and Ben goes crazy, and so that's basically.
Does Ben know sign language? Like, is he Coco?
So Ben actually uses. So this is actually kind of scary, I guess, cool and scary. He uses a talk tablet to like say like Ben miss so and so, or like Ben want the like So yeah, so that plays into it at a certain point. It's pretty gnarly, to be honest with you. Like, it's pretty gruesome at points. But yeah. Yeah, I actually thought about that. Yeah, but yeah, that's basically the whole movie. The plot is whole, like, what if you had a pet monkey that went crazy?
They got rabies.
They got rabies, yeah. So then I wanted to mention a movie I watched that has a Seinfeld connection. This one is from I think 1992. It's the early 90s. It's called The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. So this movie is about so this woman is married and she's pregnant, and she goes to her gynecologist for an examination, and it's a new gynecologist because her previous one has retired. And this gynecologist, to be blunt, molests her, like, and it's pretty like obvious. Like, it's not like, like there's no misunderstanding about it. So she goes back to her husband, tells him what happened, and he's like, well, you have to report this. Like, you have to. So she reports it. Of course, once she reports it, like 4 or 5 other women come forward with allegations. You know how this goes. Well, the gynecologist ends up killing himself because he doesn't want to face the trial and all this stuff. Well, it turns out he has a wife that was pregnant, and the like shock of that, and then him killing himself, causes the wife to miscarry. So she has a miscarriage. The woman that brought the allegations, she has a baby. Her and her husband, now have 2 kids, and they're fine. Fast forward, the wife of the now deceased gynecologist pretends to be a babysitter looking for a job, and becomes the babysitter for this couple, for the woman that basically accused her husband of molestation and led down the path. And let's just say it goes from there, because they don't know who she is, right? They don't know. They just think, this is.
I thought you weren't into scary movies, but like all we were going down.
Well, this is
monkeys with rabies and psychopath.
Babysitter from hell, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Seinfeld connection here is the husband. No, so not the gynecologist that kills himself, but the husband of the wife who is molested at the beginning of the movie is played by Matt McCoy, who you and I both know as Lloyd Braun number 2 from Seinfeld. He's the
is he the Serenity Now one, right?
Yes.
Serenity
from the
Now.
Gum.
Insanity later.
The Lloyd Braun from the Gum episode and from Serenity Now. Matt McCoy. So it also stars Ernie Hudson, who folks might know from Ghostbusters. And it's kind of... Oh, I should point out, the woman that... this is kind of a Seinfeld connection, too. The actor who plays the woman that her husband is the gynecologist who kills himself, is played by Rebecca De Mornay, that's kind of a Seinfeld reference because there's a character in Seinfeld.
Rebecca De Mornay? in the book.
That's right.
Or is it Daphne du Maurier?
No, it's Rebecca. No, it's Rebecca de Mornay. Yeah, she.
I wonder if that was intentional. Was that?
Oh no, it was. Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah. And then so I have two updates on my Denzel challenge I mentioned earlier. So last week was week 9, and the prompt there was finality. So I had to get a little creative with this one. So basically the idea here is any movie that had a title that indicated the end of something. So the obvious choices would be like The Last Blank or Final Blank or, things like that. So I actually tweeted at the Cinechums account and said, well, Denzel's in a movie called Out of Time. Would that qualify? And they said, absolutely. That totally qualifies. So I watched Out of Time, which is a movie from the early 2000s. Denzel's a police chief who has an ex-wife played by Eva Mendes, and then he has like a side piece played by Sanaa Lathan. But Sanaa Lathan is married to Dean Cain, who is like, he and Denzel's characters don't like each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so Denzel is the like chief of police in this town, and his big claim to fame is that he seized a bunch of money from like this drug dealer, and it's like public knowledge, and he's sitting on the money until the I forget the whole situation, but like basically he wants Sanaa Lathan to leave Dean Cain so that they could be together. He finds out that Sanaa Lathan has terminal cancer. Denzel does, but like Dean Cain doesn't know. And then all of a sudden there's a house, and Dean Cain is abusive to Sanaa Lathan, like, and then all of a sudden one night their house goes up in flames. Dean Cain and Sanaa Lathan. So, and they are presumed dead. And then Denzel is like kind of implicated in it because there's phone records of him calling Sanaa, like this whole thing. So it's one of these, like, you don't know if Denzel's like we as the audience think he's the good guy, but like there could be like a
plot twist,
unreliable narrator type situation. But it's a good movie. I would recommend it. And then this week, so week 10, the prompt was In Their Hands, and basically they even admitted, they're like, this is kind of a niche. It's a kind of a simple challenge, but it's kind of niche. So basically, pick a movie where on the movie poster someone is holding an item in their hands. So it could be even something as simple as like characters holding a gun, or characters it doesn't have to be a weapon. It could be, characters are holding each other's hands. It could be a character holding another person, those kind of things. So for Denzel, I had a couple options here. So there's Glory, because in the movie poster for Glory, you have a picture of a soldier holding a weapon. There's the Equalizer, the first Equalizer movie, because he is holding a handgun in that poster. Trying to think. There were a couple other ones, but the one I ended up going with was The Mighty Quinn, which is a 1989 film. It's kind of similar to Out of Time. Denzel plays a police chief that gets involved in like a shady dealings, basically. But it's set in the Caribbean. They don't say Jamaica, but I think it's Jamaica. Denzel has the worst accent I've ever heard. It is atrocious. This is by far the worst movie I have watched of this challenge so far. It's not even close.
In Jamaica, when somebody says, "Hey, man," everybody says, "Hey, man," back.
But it is...
That's an office reference.
Oh, I don't remember that one. Yeah, this is. I really was trying. I know for the last couple of weeks I've been trying to get Inside Man in here, but I just can't. Couldn't do it this week. So here's my plea: Cinechums, if you're listening, do a category where I can do Inside Man. It was on YouTube for free too last month, and now it's.
I love that movie. I need to go back and watch that.
Well, it's one of the ones I'm looking forward to rewatching. So anyway, so 10 for 10 so far. So we got 42 weeks left. I'm just going to pull up real quick. So here are some of the Denzel movies that I have not watched, have not seen, yet to come. So we've got there's a movie called Power that's directed by Sidney Lumet. I don't think he has a big role in that movie. A movie called Cry Freedom. Another movie, another option I almost used for this week's is called For Queen and Country. It's a smaller film. Movie called Heart Condition. We talked about the Much Ado About Nothing adaptation. That's coming up. City. Courage Under Fire, excuse me. Which is a movie he did with John Goodman, where it's like this like demon is being passed between. I've never seen it, but I've heard stuff about it. There's a movie called The Siege with he and Bruce Willis. The Bone Collector, The Hurricane, John Q. I'm pretty sure Cinechums every year does a Oscars in memoriam prompt. So basically anyone that's featured on the in memoriam segment of the Oscars. If they do that this year, then I could do John Q, because John Q stars Robert Duvall, who just recently passed away. So that would be. I could also do Crimson Tide because Gene Hackman is in Crimson Tide, but I've seen Crimson Tide. He's got two remakes, or actually three remakes. The Manchurian Candidate, which I just watched the original for the first time. The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. I talked about the original on the show, I think, last year, because Jerry Stiller, our beloved Jerry Stiller, is in the original. And then the Magnificent Seven remake, which I almost did the Magnificent Seven for this week's challenge. In their hands challenge. Yeah, because on that poster, everybody's got a weapon in their hand. I don't know. I don't really have a great strategy for how I'm doing this. I know there's going to come a point. There's going to come a week where I'm just like, dang it, I should have waited and done.
Well, the holiday one is going to kill you because you.
I've already done Preacher's Wife.
Yeah, so that's where you should have. That's where Macbeth should have come in. You needed.
Well, that was yeah. When we talked about it on the show, I was like, "Damn it!" I knew I was.
That's like the perfect setup for that movie too.
Yeah.
It's like husband and wife. Oh
well,
look at.
How about this? If it comes to pass that there is a holiday week, I'll just rewatch The Preacher's Wife for that, and I'll go back and watch Tragedy Macbeth for.
We'll just swap. We'll just do it.
Well, we'll just do that.
We'll fix it in post.
All right, but actually, one other thing before we'll talk some football here in a minute. But Stephen F. Austin men's basketball team, they're starting the Southland Conference tournament this week. As we all know, March Madness is revving up. They finished the regular season 27-4.
I will say they've been really good. Actually, they have been one of the teams that I have done pretty well on betting this year. Like, they've been one of my favorites to bet. Let me see. Let me pull up, see where I have them actually.
Yeah, they won the regular season Southland Conference, the championship. So now they'll do the tournament. I think the tournament's still local to us, right? It's still in Katy. Do they still have it at the Merrill Center every year? Or whatever they call it, whatever they call it now.
So I have them at 95th in my rankings. at a plus 6.3, squeezed right between Bradley and Liberty.
Okay. Right in that meaty part of the curve.
Meaty part of the curve. Let's see where I have them in terms of the Southland Conference.
Yeah, the tournament, the Southland Conference tournament kicks off Sunday, it looks like.
There's some bad teams in this. So I have McNeese actually as the best team in the conference.
Oh, so it looks like the Southland Conference tournament now is in Lake Charles. Yeah. For some reason.
Would you like to know who the worst team in the in basketball
is? It Northwestern State?
It is not Northwestern State. Okay. And I'm talking all of basketball. All of men's basketball.
I don't know.
Mississippi Valley State. They are 3-27.
Ouch.
And I have them at a minus 30 rating, which is like 6.5 points worse than the next closest team.
Yeah, I'm looking at McNeese State. McNeese State, 26-5 on the season. 14-0 at home is McNeese State. So good for them.
Northwestern State is not very good, though. I have some bad
news. No, they're not. No. I just saw their record. You don't have to tell me.
10-21.
I just saw their record. Yeah, we're good.
Ooh, mama.
Yeah, it's not great. All right, let's transition to some football news. I don't know. We'll talk a little bit about the goings on in the NFL. So yesterday, let's kind of orientate ourselves here. So the new league year kicks off on March 11th, which is a week from tomorrow, as we're recording this. Today, March 3rd. Was the deadline for franchise tags. So we'll get to that here in a little bit. But we've had a kind of a flurry of trades over the last week or so. So last week, I want to say it was during the Combine, this became official. The Titans and Jets exchanged defensive linemen. So Jermaine Johnson goes from the Jets to the Titans, reunites with Robert Saleh, who drafted him once upon a time as a Jet. And your guy, T'Vondre Sweat from University of Texas, heads to New York to pair him up with Harrison Phillips on the defensive line there. So
that feels like a sign that Robert Saleh has some like input with the front office to kind of like, hey, these are the guys that I want. Let's bring in my people from my system. So I think that's a good sign because we saw what happened with the with Patriots coach
Vrabel.
Yeah, Mike with Vrabel, like they started trading players out from under his nose, like you saw like how mad he was when they traded AJ Brown. So like,
yeah,
maybe they actually like learned. Oh, maybe we should actually consult our coaches when we're trying to trade players away.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. The Titans to me are a fascinating team because it feels like if they add the right pieces this offseason, that division's not too far away for them. Like it's not like they're in the NFC West. They're not like the Cardinals. I feel like the Cardinals have a much steeper hill to climb than the Titans.
The bar to win the AFC South is still rather low.
Although I will say, I mean, we talked about this on the show before. The AFC South had 2 playoff teams. They almost had 3. I mean, if Daniel Jones doesn't get hurt, the Colts, or at least they're in contention, going into the final weeks of the season. So, so we had that trade, and then the Texans are the team local to us here in the greater Houston area. Did 2 trades yesterday. So they sent who did they trade to the Browns? Titus Howard. They traded Titus Howard to the Browns. And then the big one is they traded for David Montgomery from the Lions. There was word out of the Combine that Montgomery was looking for a new start. Jahmyr Gibbs about to get paid. David Montgomery didn't really want to split time anymore.
There's no more. The Sonic and Hedgehog thing was fun while it lasted, but
Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic and
or
Knuckles.
Sonic. What did I say? Sonic and the Hedgehog.
You said Sonic and Hedgehog, yeah. That's
Sonic and Sonic is no longer a hedgehog.
Right now that's a story.
Yeah,
but yeah. So
Sonic
David Montgomery
are calling it quit. So they're going to have to find the Tails now to come take over the.
Yeah, so David Montgomery goes to Houston, which the curious thing about the Texans is so they trade Titus Howard, who was their starting right tackle, I believe, last year.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the David Montgomery trade, they trade Juice Scruggs, who I don't think he started for them, but I want to say he was at least a contributor on their offensive line.
Yeah, and it's not like now. Don't get me wrong, the Texans' offensive line was not world beaters, but I think continually just like trading away everybody on your offensive line, and then you're going to have to like completely rebuild it, which like given what the front office has done to try to rebuild that offensive line in the first place is like not exactly like giving you a warm fuzzy feeling about how this is going to go. Give me a reason to trust the Texans front office when it comes to figuring out this offensive line situation.
I take your point, but obviously with this move, it feels like the Texans are saying, look, we're going to want to run the ball and play good. We know they can play good defense. I mean, that's not a question. This feels like a make or break year for Stroud for sure. Did he get paid already? Or does he?
No, they have not. I think they've still got. I think there was talk about like maybe they would do a deal. So my problem here is that like so with running backs, I think in what we've seen from like Jahmyr Gibbs and not necessarily Bijan a little bit, but also like if you look at Ashton Genty and kind of how things like. Getting an elite running back, if you have a good offensive line and if your offensive ecosystem is good, your offensive line is good, taking an elite back and dropping him in, like this is what Saquon Barkley kind of like with the Eagles was another example of this. If you have a good offensive ecosystem and a good offensive line and you take an elite back with elite traits and drop them in there, as we see with Gibbs and Saquon, like that can take your offense to an elite level. Bringing in what might be a good, solid back and putting them behind an offensive line that is not good and not elite isn't going to the marginal value that you're going to get from that isn't there. Like you're saying, like I'm going to bring in this running back because we want to run the ball. Well, if your offensive line is bad, like look at what Ashton Genty was getting hit. Like we thought he was like he ran for like 2,000 yards in college and probably would have won the Heisman any other year except the year that Travis Hunter, who's a two-way player, is playing.
Right.
He goes behind that Raiders offensive line. He's getting hit in the backfield every single play. Like the running back can add value, but it needs to be in certain situations. And I don't think like trading for Montgomery in this situation is going to get the results that the Texans want.
Yeah. And let me be clear. What I'm saying, this is what the Texans are saying that they want to run the ball. I mean, maybe this is to your point. We have no reason to trust the front office, but I can kind of see what they're going after. Now, if they don't do anything to help their offensive line over the rest of this offseason, then they're cooked. They're cooked. My guess is that their first round pick needs to be an offensive lineman, probably at this point, or at least make a splash in that department in free agency or something. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, right now I was just pulling up who's left basically on their offensive line, and it's like Alontae Taylor, who they drafted last year. I think it was last year or the year before out of Minnesota. Blake Fisher, who's another young player. Yeah, it definitely feels like they need. Now, the other part of this is somebody brought up is like, well, if you're the Texans and if your offensive line was bad, getting rid of all the people who were on that offensive line may not be the worst idea, but like
you still have to replace them with something.
Still got to replace them, but I mean, we were sitting here. Was it last year? We're like, why are you trading away Laramie Tunsil?
Yeah, they actually traded away the good player last year, and
right. So,
but they also traded. Who was the guy that the guy out of A&M that they traded to Philadelphia? And
Kenyon Green.
Yeah, they traded Kenyon Green to the Eagles, and he was so bad that even the Eagles were like, "No, we can't even." Jeff Stoutland can't even.
He didn't make it. He didn't make it past training camp. I don't think.
No, he was out early. So that's not a good sign for your offensive line career.
Yeah. So that something to keep an eye on with the Texans, because like we said, Jacksonville's not going to get any. Doesn't feel like Jacksonville's going to get any worse. I mean, they haven't done much yet this offseason, but I imagine they're going to be.
Yeah, we still haven't got to free agency yet, so
yeah,
we got time.
I imagine. So, and then obviously, look, I know that people might laugh, but that Tennessee thing, I'm serious about it. Like if they make a couple of right moves in the draft and the free agency, that team's going to at least be competitive next year. I mean, it won't be a pushover like they were.
Yeah, they were. They need to get Cam Ward some weapons, because like last year he was throwing to I think their best receiver was I don't even think it was Calvin Ridley. It was the
Malik Ayumanner, maybe.
Malik Ayumanner was their best receiver. Like that, I don't think that's going to cut it this year. You're going to need to improve the weapons around Cam this year.
All right. Well, let's move on to the. Actually, let's skip past the combine for now. Let's move to franchise tags. So as we mentioned, today was the deadline for franchise tags. Correct me if I'm wrong, but only 3 teams utilized the franchise tag. So there were the Jets tagged Breece Hall, the Falcons tagged Kyle Pitts, and then your Cowboys tagged George Pickens. So those are the only. Go ahead.
The Pickens tag is the non-exclusive, so he can negotiate with other teams, which I think is actually better, because if you don't know necessarily what the market is for him, and if you're not sure that another team is willing to give him a bunch of money, then it's probably better to let him go and talk to other teams and see what he's able to get. Now, if he does sign somewhere, the Cowboys can either match, or the team signing Pickens to that offer sheet would have to cough up the equivalent of 2 first-round picks of compensation. So I think it's a good safety net that allows them to maybe get a sense of the market, but also have some fallback and some options for a safety net there if something ends up happening where either he gets more money than they wanted to pay him, or they have the right of first refusal if someone signs them to a deal that they're like, okay, well, we're willing to match that.
Yeah. Kind of an odd situation, I guess a similar situation to the Pickens tag. The Colts have placed the transition tag on our guy Danny Dimes. Mm-hmm. They have yet to get to a deal. This feels like just bad management on the Colts' part, because basically now they've had to put this transition tag on Danny Dimes, which is in essence, he kind of like Pickens, he can go and court other offers. The Colts just get kind of right of first refusal, or they get a chance to match it's kind of like they get a chance to match the offer sheet. And then because of this, it looks like now the Colts are going to have to lose Alec Pierce. So this is kind of like a Giants, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley type shit. I'm not saying Alec Pierce is Saquon Barkley, but it's a similar type of situation. Now there's talk of the Colts potentially maybe trading Michael Pittman so that they can make room for Alec Pierce and get all these deals done. And also the other report I heard was that the Colts basically have no backup plan at quarterback. It's basically like if Daniel Jones isn't there, then they're SOL. Which, I mean, look, I think we both agree that Daniel Jones played well last year before his injury, but having your entire team being held hostage by a guy coming off an Achilles injury, not great.
Well, they've also they've also kind of put out there already that Anthony Richardson will probably not be back with the team. So that's not even
That's what I'm saying. I think their backup would be your guy Ellinger from UT. Is he gone?
Where's Riley Leonard?
Well, that's right, Riley Leonard. My bad. Yeah. My bad. Yeah.
I was starting to think I put Riley Leonard on the wrong team in my mind.
No, you're right. He's there.
Okay.
So yeah, the Colts again. That AFC South is going to be interesting to keep track of here over this offseason. So the franchise tag was not used. A couple of notable non-uses of the franchise tag. Trey Hendrickson with the Bengals. So he is now a free agent, and he is going to probably get paid wherever he goes. I think he's on the wrong side. Is he on the wrong side of 30? I think he's over 30 now at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
But, still a viable pass rusher. The big one, Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker with the Seahawks. Seahawks choose not to franchise tag him, so apologies to our good friend Trang. Looks like they're going to be missing Kenneth Walker. I've heard anything from the Giants are going to be interested in him. I heard the Broncos thrown out there as a possible landing spot for him.
The Giants move just makes so much sense. He won a Super Bowl MVP.
Right. Well, I mean, if the Giants sign him, then that helps the Jeremiyah Love to New Orleans project.
Sure. I think if I'm a Cowboys fan, choosing which one I'd rather than spend a bunch of money on a running back that's already had a bunch of carries and not exactly 100% the healthiest, as opposed to drafting the elite freak athlete out of Notre Dame.
Right. I'm trying to think who. Those are the two notable. I know Trey Hendrickson. I think ESPN came out with their top 100 free agents, and Trey Hendrickson was number one. So we'll see. So I think next week, on the 9th, it starts the tampering, but don't call it a tampering period. And then on the 11th, that's when free agencies can actually start. You can actually start signing players. So be interesting to see. The Cardinals made a couple of interesting moves. Looks like they are going to be they are for sure releasing Kyler Murray. They have informed him that unless we can trade you, which putting it out in the public that they're going to release him doesn't help trade him, because now teams are just going to be like, well, I'm not.
What am I gonna do? What am I going to trade for when I can get the guy for free?
Right. I think the teams the teams I've seen linked to him are like the Jets, the usual suspects, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Steelers. If Rodgers decides not to come back,
the Vikings haven't been linked to him at all. Is that not?
Yeah, the Vikings were the other one.
I feel like the Vikings was the big one that I've kind of a lot of people have kind of put that out there as a guy that you could. The two names I've heard with the Vikings are Kyler and Geno Smith is another one, which Geno's not been nothing official's happened with Geno, but obviously with them with the number one pick, looks like they're going to draft Fernando Mendoza. Geno Smith days in Vegas are very much numbered. And then your cousin James Conner, Conner. Let me tell you how many times I've had to fight that battle.
He looks like he's going to also be released, which this will hurt the Saints getting Jeremiyah Love, because now it looks like the Cardinals are in love, so to speak, with Jeremiyah Love, which I can understand.
Man, maybe I don't know. Well, the Cowboys just signed Javonte to the contract. I will say the details of that contract have come out, and it's very team friendly because of the way that it's structured. Because a lot of it is in like per game and roster bonuses. So like you're all right.
I did when I talked with Ross last week about this, and I said, well, I feel like the Chiefs might just trade up ahead of the Saints to get Love, just like they did Mahomes. And he said, well, if you want to be the team that's trading up in the top 10 for a running back, go right ahead. Like, I don't want any part of that. So.
Yeah, you want to do that. Go ahead. Like, if you want to burn through if that's how you want to spend your draft capital, like, sure.
Couldn't be me, kind of thing. Yeah. Now, for the Cardinals at quarterback, it looks like there's two names that I've heard. So the one that came out today was Malik Willis. Looks like that he's kind of the betting favorite, I guess. Polymarket put out a story that it looks like Malik Willis is going to sign with the Cardinals once he's able to. But the other name I heard was Jimmy Garoppolo, which makes sense because Mike LaFleur came from the Rams. Garoppolo was the backup there, so obviously they have kind of a relationship. And look, if you're the Cardinals and you've got the third overall pick in a draft where there's only one really good quarterback, and the team who's drafting one needs a quarterback, Garoppolo may not be the worst option to just kind of bridge the gap for this year. And then, there's obviously a bunch of good quarterbacks potentially coming out next year.
So what do we think the Malik Willis contract is going to be?
What were the numbers I saw today? Like 2 years, 30-something million? Or was that
30 million total or 30 million a year?
Maybe it was 30 million a year, because obviously it's a big difference.
Yeah, that's
hang on one second. Let me find.
Because that's what scares me a little bit about the Malik Willis situation, because I think, because obviously, like, with what he's done filling in for Jordan Love, he's obviously like earned the right to go and start somewhere. He looks like he could be like someone who could end up taking the next step and actually being a starting quarterback in the league. Like that, I don't have any issue with that. But it seems like we're slowly pushing out, like, and maybe part of this is the success of Sam Darnold, is like with the success of him, with Baker, with some of the other guys that we've seen come in on second contracts and kind of mid-tier deals, we're seeing that market start to expand a little. And I wonder, like, how much does this get, like, how much we start to, like, because everyone talks about, like, the rookie quarterback contract is like the best possible situation for you before you have to pay that guy.
Yeah.
Now what we're talking about is you either need a guy that you can absolutely win with, like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
But now, like, it seems like, well, if you can't find that and you can't find that guy in the draft, you can try to take a shot on one of these like mid-tier guys. And it feels like as the demand for those guys increases, you're going to start pushing those contracts up a little. And so I wonder, like, how much these things sort of like start to get inflated, and like, is Malik Willis will have his chance, but are you in trouble if you start offering him, like, if it's 30 million, how many years are you going to have to go? How many, and then how much pressure does that, if he busts, like, I'm not saying he will, but like if he busts, and like now you're starting to like affect your future and your ability to like get the new guy in. If that happens, you're going to draft a guy. Well, now you're like blowing one of those years that you would have had a rookie scale deal on, because you would have that Malik Willis or whoever the guy is, not saying Malik Willis specifically, but whoever that guy that you missed with a big mid-tier quarterback contract, you'd have him on eating up a bunch of your salary cap that wouldn't be eaten up by your rookie quarterback. So
so just a quick glance at Twitter, and all the reporting or speculating I'm seeing is at least 30 million annual for Malik, which
that's
steep.
Getting a little steep, especially once it gets into like multi-year. If you go 2, maybe, but like if you go beyond 2, then I'm starting to get a little nervous.
Yeah, because to your point, like if you're the Cardinals, let's just stick with them. if they sign Malik, and let's say they do a 2-year deal for like 60, or then, and let's say this first season they're right back in the top 5 drafting next year, and you maybe can draft an Arch Manning or pick your quarterback, Dante Moore, whoever it might be. Now you're kind of like, well, I mean, I guess if you do a 2-year deal, you're not as bad off, because then you can just, But yeah, to your point, I would almost, if you can get a deal with Malik that's like, well, it'll look like $30 million annual, but what it really is it's backloaded. So like your first year is not going to be.
Yeah, so you've got you're going to have to build in some protection based on what the guaranteed money is and how this contract is structured. It would be the way to kind of do that.
And again, like the Cardinals, they're obviously the word coming out of the combine is they are in love with Jeremiyah Love, but they've got issues on other places. I mean, like their defensive side of the ball needs help. They're an offensive line needy team, I would say. Now, LaFleur, their new head coach, obviously is the brother of Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur coached Malik Willis in Green Bay, so obviously there's some kind of, I'm sure Mike is calling Matt and getting his opinion. So it'd be interesting to keep an eye on. And again, the Cardinals are in the toughest division of football by far. Like they have the steepest hill to climb.
They're not in the AFC or NFC South.
Correct. They are not. And then we'll just mention for our good friend Andy, the Bears had a retirement, kind of a surprise retirement announcement today. It was Dahlman. Was it Drew Dahlman?
Mm-hmm. And I think he just got traded to Chicago last year. I think
this was his first year with the Bears this past season. And I think he's 27. He's not.
Yeah, he's
not
like
30.
relatively young.
But I mean, hey, good for him. I mean, he did what he needed to do, and he's retired. So the Bears are now going to be probably in the offensive line market. I think it was Ryan. It might have been Ryan from Saints Block Party Podcast retweeted and said, "Can I interest you in a slightly used Eric McCoy?" Or can I try to get let's get this going. So something for the Bears to look at. I saw a mock draft. We'll talk about mock drafts here in a second, but I saw one today. Forget where it was from, where they had the Bears trading up to 3 to draft Jeremiyah Love, and I'm like, that seems
a little excessive. That doesn't make any sense.
No offense to, again, I know we don't want the Bears fans after us again, but like
they don't. The Bears. Andy is the only Bears fan that likes us, I think.
Yeah, he's probably questionable most days. But yeah, I don't know if I would agree with that.
We don't want to poke the Bears.
We don't want to poke the Bears. Yeah, that's true. So speaking of mock drafts, let's kind of get into some. So I took note of a couple we can go through. And as we're doing this, we can also talk combine results and all that good stuff.
I think we can summarize the Saints mock drafts pretty quickly. I think we can.
Now, I told you this before we started. I did not do this on purpose. It's just every one that I went to. So I've got PFF from Trevor Sikkema, ESPN, Jordan Reed. He just released his today. NFL.com, Lance Zierlein, and then Walter Football. This is a site that I've used the last couple of years. And then the Draft Network. All of those have at pick 8 the Saints selecting Jeremiyah Love. Now, you and I just had a conversation about bringing a running back to a team where your offensive line's not quite there yet, and Ross and I talked about it last week, where the Saints feel pretty good on the ends, on the tackles, Banks and Fuanga. The interior of the offensive line, not so much. So a lot of this is going to depend on, and Ross talked about this last week, a lot of this is going to depend on free agency, right? And I really appreciated Ross talking through kind of the thinking that teams go through at this point of the offseason, where they kind of look at scenarios of like, okay, if we can get player A in free agency and player B in the draft versus, this guy in free agency, this guy in the draft, and like kind of, where do we, Ross did this on his show. Like, he's like, if you could get Alec Pierce in free agency and get Jeremiyah Love in the draft, would you rather that, or would you rather have Kenneth Walker in free agency and Carnell Tate in the draft? Or whatever. Like, you go through those kind of exercises.
I think the other thing is, like, a lot of it is kind of like filling in in free agency. You kind of want to fill in some of your baseline needs, so that allows you to kind of like draft mostly from like a best player available standpoint, where you're not, we have such a big hole at this position that we absolutely 100% need this guy, and we're going to have to reach over and, kind of like do a little bit of a reach in terms of value on the draft board because of that.
Yeah. And look, we know the Saints are not immune to trading up. They've traded up for less in the past. I guarantee you. See Marcus Davenport. But
classic.
I just, and listen, Jeremiyah Love went to the combine and he just put on a show. What was this 40? Like a 4? Is it like 4.3? Was he a 4.3 guy? Yeah, just insane stuff. The 40s at the combine this year were ridiculous across all the positions, all the skill positions for the most part. But let's talk about the Cowboys a little bit here. So we'll start with Trevor Sikkema, PFF. Let's talk about Trevor and then Jordan Reed kind of back to back, because in essence, in both of these drafts, Trevor and Jordan have the Cowboys ending up with the same players. However, Jordan's a little bit more of a circuitous route. So the players are Dylan Thieneman, who's a safety from Oregon, who had a very impressive showing at the combine, and Avion Terrell, cornerback from Clemson, who I don't know if he tested at the combine. If he did, I missed his results. But
I told you we've been getting every year. We have more and more Seinfelds at the combine.
They choose
not to run.
Choose not to run. Yeah, it was kind of a big deal that Jeremiyah Love actually did all the drills. So actually, getting back to the Saints just for a second, Jeff Duncan made a pointed this out on Twitter, that Jeremiyah Love did do all the drills. He ran all the stuff. And he made the point, he pointed out that last year, one of the things that impressed Kellen Moore about Tyler Shuck was Tyler Shuck went to the combine and did everything. He did all the workouts. He did all the, just something to
see. I like to see that, because it shows, like, even if you like may not necessarily put up a great number, you're like at least like willing to compete and go out there and like showcase yourself. I think that actually like represents something. I think there's value in actually going, regardless of what you end up doing.
Yeah, so Jeremiyah Love, I'm just looking this up, 4.36 40-yard dash. The second best time at running back. The best time was a 4.33 from Mike Washington from Arkansas, who, I'm going to be honest with you, if the Saints don't get Jeremiyah Love in the first round, Mike Washington in like the third round, perfectly fine with him. Like, I'm not gonna be mad about it.
Did you see somebody posted like the top like 40 times from like the fastest 40 times from receivers, and somebody said there's more like DUI manslaughters on here than 1,000-yard seasons.
Wow. So we're talking about your guy Dylan Thieneman. I believe that's how this has been pronounced. 4.35 in the 40 for Mr. The Oregon safety there.
So I have a problem with this pick. So we talked about this recently, because we talked about Caleb Downs specifically, like would he fall to the Cowboys at 12 because of positional value. This was before the medical stuff came out.
Right.
And we talked Caleb Downs may end up going a little higher because he is what you could say is a generational talent at safety. Cinnamon, we shouldn't be pushing. He's not that. So you should not be pushing this guy up draft board. Because he's not that. And so the positional value thing is going to push him down even more. So there's no, and this is a deep class at safety. You could probably get some of these guys, a talented safety in the second round if you don't end up with Downs. But there's no reason to start pushing this guy up draft boards just because of what he ran at the combine. That doesn't make sense to me.
And Ross kind of touched on this last week. These guys got to write columns. They got jobs. They got to, and so they're just saying, well, Cowboys need a safety. This guy ran a pretty fast 40, and he looks good on tape. Let's just give him. This guy.
It feels like there's going to be the guys that ran well or performed well or tested well at the combine. They're going to get a little boost for a little while, and then as people continue to talk to actual GMs and things, these guys will eventually drift back down the draft board closer to where they actually belong.
Yeah,
or actually going.
Now Jordan Reed at ESPN, he did a 2-round mock draft, so he actually had a second-round pick for the Saints at pick 42, and it's Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver from Alabama, which, again, if you tell me the Saints can come out of the first 2 rounds with 2 offensive players of some renown to go with Tyler Shuck, I'll be happy with that. I'll be perfectly fine with that. I did see a mock draft, I forget who it was, had the Saints going offensive line at pick 8, and
that's a Paul walks into traffic situation.
Yeah, I think it was Fanu from Utah, the tackle from Utah, and I'm like,
you're not fond of that move.
I mean, let me see what happens to free agency first. That's the thing. I've matured enough as a football fan to know you got to see these next 2-3 weeks. You got to get through that first. And then once you're through that, then you can kind of look at the draft and say, okay.
What you do in free agency could totally change the trajectory of what your team needs in the draft.
Do the Cowboys not have a second-round pick? You guys gave your second-round pick to the Jets, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Quinn Williams?
Yes, I think we don't have a second and we don't have a third because the Pickens trade was for a third-rounder.
Okay.
So there is some talk about them possibly if depending on how the board falls at 20, maybe you could trade back toward the end of the first and pick up another pick there. That's a possibility.
The Jordan Reed mock draft had you guys trading back from 12 to 16 with the Jets, ironically, and then still taking Thieneman, but now you take him at 16, not 12. I mean, he obviously didn't go through the compensation, but my guess is you'd probably get next year's first for that, maybe.
Yeah, something.
And maybe a late round pick this year, but so that was those 2 mock drafts. NFL.com, Lance Zierlein for the Cowboys at pick 12, Keldrick Falk, who is a edge rusher from Auburn.
Yeah, he makes me nervous because he's a traits guy with no production, and that at 12 specific. Keldrick Falk at 20, I'm a little less leery of. Keldrick Falk at 12, I'm a little cautious about going that route just without the actual production, actually turning pressures into sacks. He wasn't able to do that, and so I think that's my concern with him.
Yeah, no.
I will say I do want to point out that the Jordan Reed draft, he has the Cowboys at pick 20 taking Avion Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson.
Yeah,
this would be the second Avion that would play for the Cowboys. Also, Avion Kason, former running back. So spelled the same.
Yeah, and PFF had you guys taking Terrell also. But yeah. Lance Zierlein, NFL.com. So, Keldrick Falk at 12. And then Lance Zierlein has the Cowboys trading back from 20 to 26 with the Bears. I apologize, Andy. I don't remember who the Bears were trading up for, but the Cowboys at 25, not 26, would be selecting Colton Hood, cornerback from Tennessee.
Is that the guy with the injury issues? Coming off the ACL.
Sure. He ran a 4.40 at the combine. So
okay, I think there's another, because there's a Tennessee cornerback who's coming off an ACL, and I don't think he ran because he didn't feel 100%. And
right.
I think that's the guy. Like Jerry Jones has kind of explicitly said, we're probably not going to go on like draft redshirt guys who are going to take like the offseason to get healthy. And so that I would say that would rule out anybody with like serious injury. And I also wonder if that like also influences their decision on Caleb Downs, if that's a possible issue too.
By the way, one of the top 10 corners in terms of 40-yard dashes was from Stephen F. Austin, Charles Demings, who he had a 4.41 40s. Shout out to Charles Demings.
The Tennessee cornerback I was thinking of was Jermon McCoy.
Oh, yeah. So I have seen him mocked to the Cowboys in other drafts. Not this go around, but previous.
Yeah, I think I would like.
Oh, actually, we got one coming up in a minute.
Yeah, so that I would say that pick is probably like wrong, just based on what I've heard from what they are looking for this year.
So Walter Football, they have the Cowboys at 12 picking a corner, but from an SEC school, but not Tennessee, from LSU, Mansour Delaney, who was viewed as one of the top corners in the draft, I think.
So that is a guy that I'm like that. So him, Downs, Styles, Bain. That's like kind of like my list of four. Like if we get any one of those guys, I am like thrilled. Like I'm running. Okay. You run to the podium with the card.
Yep.
Any four of those guys, I think I'm pretty thrilled with.
All right. And then at 20, Walter Football has the Cowboys selecting T.J. Parker, defensive end out of Clemson. So another Clemson player, just not Avion Terrell.
Full disclosure, I don't know anything about him, so no comment.
Yeah, I think he had a little bit more juice to him during the season, maybe even before the season, and I don't think his tape was as good as he ran a 4.68 40 at the combine, and he weighed in at 6'4", 263. So, now I think this next draft. So the Draft Network, I think at pick 12, and you correct me if I'm wrong. So you just listed your four players. Would you not include David Bailey in that collection? The Texas Tech.
I don't know enough about. Like, I have no take on David Bailey. He seems like a good player, so I think he's someone I like. From the little I've read about him, he seems like a good player. So
he from what I've heard, he is the opposite of Keldrick Falk. He is a production guy. Like he's shown he can get sacks. I think he had double-digit sacks this past year at Texas Tech. I want to say he was at Indiana prior to that and showed good promise. 6'4", 251, ran a 4.5 flat in a 40. So,
not bad. I will say I would like to see he may be, based on the fact that we don't have a second and third rounder, Jacob Rodriguez. Now that's a Texas Tech guy would especially with that mustache.
Well, I mean, he was a guy that made himself some money at the combine because there were a lot of questions going in about his athleticism, and he checked all those boxes at the combine. I don't remember his numbers off the top of my head, but I think any team looking for a linebacker, which my team might be in that category also, because Demario Davis Ross and I talked about Demario Davis's potential leaving last week. I've heard rumors that Pete Warner was on the trading block, but that's, again, as Ross said, that's just people got to write articles and they got to write about something. So, and then the Draft Network at 20 with the guy that we talked about a minute ago, they had the Cowboys selecting Jamad McCoy, the Tennessee corner that's coming off an injury. So, so list me again. Give me those 4 players again that you said that would be your
Ruben Bain, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, and Mansour Delane.
Okay, so obviously all defense, because Cowboys obviously can use some defense. Bain. My favorite thing over the weekend was the when his arm measurement came back, and it's like Ruben Bain versus Will Campbell, and it's the 2 dinosaurs, 2 T-Rexes going at it. Yeah, look, I don't know. I mean, like, Ruben Bain caused a lot of problems in college. So I mean, I don't know.
Ruben Bain is the guy that if you like have any questions about his arm length, like go put on the playoffs, the national championship playoffs, and like there's your like this is just watch the tape, dude. Like you don't overthink this. Don't get caught up in measurements. This guy's awesome. Go draft him.
Yeah, I will say for the Saints, and I don't want to jinx this, but I feel like where they are at number 8 feels like they're in a pretty good spot. Like somebody's going to fall to them at 8 that you're just like, holy crap, we ended up with Caleb Downs, or we ended up with Sonny Styles, or we ended up with, again, a lot of this is going to depend on free agency, but like if they, by some grace of God, end up signing Travis Etienne, let's say at running back, then obviously I don't think they're going to pick Jeremiyah Love in first round. I need y'all to draft a running back to like push all the defensive guys down. Yeah, I know.
Another spot.
I know the fellas over at Saints Block Party Podcast, they are a huge Caleb Downs fan. I think everybody's a Caleb Downs fan, honestly, because he's just, to your point, he's just one of those generational type of players. And then Sonny Styles, after the show he put on at the Combine, feels like, so obviously we know who the first pick is going to be, right? Raiders are going to go Mendoza. The Jets at 2 feels like it's between Arvell Reese, David Bailey, Sonny Styles, Ruben Bain. It's going to be one of those defensive linemen / linebacker types. The Cardinals are kind of a wild card. Now that if they do move on from James Conner, then obviously Jeremiyah Love becomes a top name. But if they don't, if they sign a running back in free agency, then maybe that changes. They could obviously also go with defense. Who's picking at 4? Tennessee. Tennessee's been talked about as a Jeremiyah Love destination. I mean, they obviously have your guy Tony Pollard already and Ty J. Spears, but
Tony Pollard starting to have some.
He's got some years
miles on that. Yeah, he's got a few miles on those tires by this point.
Some years. Let me pull up the draft order. 5, I think, is the Browns. Which who knows what the Browns are going to do? Oh no, the Giants. I'm sorry, the Giants are at 5. That's been a Jeremiyah Love name. I've heard Jeremiyah Love there as well. But again, if they're in on Kenneth Walker, then
right.
The Browns at 6. I have no idea what the Browns are going to do. Munkin. They might draft. Todd McShay said they might draft Ty Simpson at 6. Like that's in play. Like
they don't. I don't think they have enough quarterbacks, Paul. I mean, I think
they don't. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, you need 5, right? You need a starting 5. Am I reading? Am I remembering?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's the Commanders. The Commanders are another team that could look running back. Obviously, I mean, Bill Merritt.
Well, the Commanders were mentioned as a potential trade candidate for Maxx Crosby too.
Were they?
Maxx Crosby? They were on the list, but
you're on the list.
I know. Was it Nate? What was his name?
Ned Isakoff.
You are on our list.
She names.
You got me blacklisted at Hop Sings.
By the way, speaking of Maxx Crosby, so all right, buddy, let's just you and me talking.
Okay.
So I have a feeling that if we were on this call right now and the news broke that Maxx Crosby had been traded to the Cowboys, you might be pretty excited. I will say,
you know what my question would be though.
What's that?
How much did it cost?
Right. And what? Yeah, the Thanos gift. What did it cost?
Everything.
Did you see his? I think it was a tweet he sent out today. I forget exactly what the words were, but one of the emojis that he had was an eagle.
I did see that. But doesn't he have like an eagle like tattooed on him? I mean,
sure.
somewhere.
Sure. Yeah.
Among the thousands of tattoos that he had, I think he's used like an eagle emoji like a lot. I think that's like not. I mean, maybe I'm making this up in my head, but
so is it safe to say that if the Cowboys don't get Maxx Crosby, the team you do not want to see him go to is the Eagles? Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I mean, if they end up having to give up like 5 first-round draft picks for him, then I guess I'd
right.
I guess that would be okay. But
we should also mention, obviously, the Cowboys just hired Christian Parker away from the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of talk about Nakobe Dean has been a hot name for a potential offseason signing.
And maybe some other Eagle players might be in the offing, as it were, to come to Dallas to follow Coach Parker there. I did want to talk briefly, and Ross and I talked about this last week, about the Derek Carr situations. A couple weeks ago, I think it was around time of the Super Bowl, right after the Super Bowl maybe, Derek Carr made it known that he would be willing to unretire and play for a team, a competitive, that could potentially compete for a Super Bowl. And then a news report came out right after the Combine that said, to quote one of my favorite Charles Barkley lines, "You know who's been asking about you? Nobody." So apparently the Saints have not, the phone lines have not been lighting up for Derek Carr.
So Derek Carr sent a "you up" text, and then all the teams were Newman in the chair.
Exactly. I did ask Ross, I said, do you think this gets done pre-draft or post-draft? And he said, well, if you're Derek Carr, you probably want it done pre-draft, because then whoever's trading for him has most likely given him the commitment. There's no commit without the commit, right? You can't,
And then they got you committed.
Now, Matthew Berry, who obviously is a fantasy football expert, what he heard at the Combine was Carr is going to unretire, and the team he heard was the Jets. Which, if Derek Carr wants to compete, I don't think the Jets is where he wants to go, but
I guess that's
he does technically. I think Carr has a no trade clause. I forgot to ask Ross about this. I think he has a no trade clause. I don't know if that, because he retired, I don't know if that goes away or how that works, but
I think it gets reinstated. So I have an update, Paul. I just did some research. Maxx Crosby uses the eagle emoji like all the time, like every tweet. So
All right, fair enough. Well, let me ask you this then. What would you be willing to give up? I think we probably talked about this. I know because one of our breakouts clips that was going around was like Crosby or Trey Hendrickson. Who would you rather have? And we maybe talked about it in that clip. But what would you be willing to give? I'm making you general manager of the Cowboys, Brandon. Congratulations, you're now bestowed those powers. What would you be willing to give up for Maxx Crosby?
I think so. So I'm a little stingier here with my concern is that like he's played a lot, he's older. You may have to do it. You may have to rework a contract with him, and so I think one first round pick is probably the highest I'd be willing to go. I can't make myself do two at this point, just based on what we've kind of done.
So if you call the Raiders, Cowboys call the Raiders and say, all right, we'll give you pick 20 plus some other picks, maybe a first. Well, you're saying only one first round pick. So not like one this.
Yeah. So like no future first either.
Okay. So let's say you call. Would it matter if they say, okay, well, we'll take one first round pick, but it's got to be 12? Would you?
I'm going to have to talk to my people at that point.
Because if you're the Raiders, the thing about the Raiders, having the first pick is nice because you're going to get Mendoza, but it's also kind of limiting because now you got to wait till the second round.
Right.
So if you're the Raiders and you get picked 12, now you probably feel, okay, well.
Yeah, no, they feel great, but then I don't feel so great.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just hesitant to. I will say though, like given the fact that we're like you're trying to maximize the next like 2 years of the window, like maybe it is worth it to kind of to take a big swing on it. But
yeah, I mean if you guys trade for Crosby and then obviously you got to work out the Pickens deal. I mean, you're going all in at that point. You're just
yeah. Which I think is probably. I think that's what you need to be doing in this situation. You've got Dak probably playing at an elite level for like 2 to 3 more years max, and so if you can just go all in on that, and I think Jerry is also sort of confronting his mortality with the way that he's kind of had conversations lately. And the way he's kind of talked about things. Now we'll see if that actually like translates into any actionable like moves if they actually like end up doing anything. But I think they've kind of thought about this is probably our best window. We need to do what we can to like maximize this portion, that like this team, this version of the team.
Let me ask you about another. This just came to mind. There was a tight end at the combine who tested very well. The young man from Oregon, Kenyon Sadiq. How are the Cowboys at tight end right now? Who is it? Is it Jake? And that's it?
Ferguson. He's kind of been down the past couple of years. I think he was a little better this year than he was last year, but he still had some issues. But I don't know. You've already spent so much on your offense. Like I don't know that.
Right.
You kind of need to. The defense needs to be. If you get Pickens back and you make some minor upgrades, you've got Javonte back. Maybe you're able to like upgrade the backup running back position a little bit. Like that's going to put your offense to where it needs to be. You kind of really just need to focus on getting the defense to competent, not historically bad. Would be a starter.
Right. Yeah, no, you guys. This is all sounding like late Breeze era with the Saints, where it's like, okay, we've got this quarterback who's playing out of his mind. We just need our defense to like not suck, and we need like
can you hold the other team to less than 30, please?
Right. Yeah.
I'm not asking you to like. I'm not asking you to turn into the 85 Bears.
Well, speaking of, we do our patron saint / cowboy every week. We might have a new one because there's a word that the Cowboys could be interested in Alontae Taylor.
I meant to ask you about this. This came like across I don't remember if it was Locked On Cowboys or where else I heard it, but like I
saw it online somewhere.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Alontae Taylor? What kind of deal do you think he gets?
We talked about this with Ross last week. I think this is just me, and I don't, I'm just a schmuck talking on a podcast, but I feel like this is so. I presented Ross with the Mark Ingram situation from years ago. So when Mark Ingram left the Saints, it felt like he went out and was of the opinion that he had a value of a certain level. And when he went out in the open market, and the Saints were like, all right, man, cool. Like, go get your money. We're going to go sign Latavius Murray and we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mark Ingram went out in the open market and the value was not what he thought it was going to be. And he ended up signing with the Ravens for like a kind of a lesser deal. That's what I think Alontae Taylor is going to end up what's going to end up happening with Alontae Taylor. Now, Ross brought up the Caden Ellis scenario, which was the opposite, where Caden Ellis went out in the market and the Falcons paid him more than the Saints ever would. So he's like, well, screw it. I'm going to go to the Falcons. So that could happen too. Now, I don't know. Are the Cowboys known for overpaying? Like
Recently. I think they have a reputation for being big spenders, but they really haven't been big spenders recently. Like most of what they do in free agency lately is just bargain bin shopping. Is they'll like kind of wait out the big deals on the first couple of days and then like start poaching guys for like Dante Fowler for $3 million, Javonte Williams for $3 million. And so like, that's what they've been doing. I don't know if they'll alter their process this year.
I mean, based on what I've heard, Alontae is expecting to get paid. Like he is not
like 20, I don't think like 20.
At least 15. Maybe not 20, but it's going to be. Yeah, I would. I mean, ESPN has him as I think the number 9 overall free agent this offseason. He might be one of the best corners out there. I mean, we've talked about him. I talked about him a little bit with you, and I mentioned this to Ross last week. Like, he feels like a Devon Witherspoon light. Like look at what Devon Witherspoon did for the Seahawks. That's what Alontae Taylor. I think that's what the Saints wish Alontae Taylor would do, if that makes sense. Like he can, allow. Now Ross also brought up, where is he going to play? If you're gonna sign Alontae Taylor, expecting him to be your corner one, that's different than if you're expecting him to be your like nickel kind of jack of all trades corner. But we'll see. I think Saints fans. I think Saints fans are at the point where if he left and his contract was in that like $20 million range, I think most Saints fans will be like, "We're happy for you, Alontae, but we'll be okay."
So I looked at the projections. Spot Track has a 4-year or a 3-year, $33.5 million deal, which I think like I would do that like pretty easily. The Athletic, however, has 4 years, $7 million, which is $19 million. No. Yeah, and at that point, I'm out.
That's right. Yeah. And I think Alontae's thinking more that number. Or that range.
This is also what happened to Dalton Schultz with the Cowboys, because he kind of like went out. He was like, I'm going to get like, I think the Cowboys offered him something. He was like, no, I can go get more in free agency. And then he ended up signing with the Texans for like, I can't remember, it may have been less than he got offered with the Cowboys. Like, I think he overestimated his market and ended up having to take a lesser deal. Are there?
Yeah. And
go ahead.
Well, and what I'll say is like, losing Alontae Taylor would be a ding for the Saints, but I don't think it's a ding. I don't think it's something they couldn't bounce back from.
Yeah, you'll be able to replace him, and where you're at in kind of like the rebuilding cycle, it's not going to be.
I'll tell you this. If they lost Alontae Taylor, but they drafted Caleb Downs, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like,
well, are there any free agents that you like specifically want to say that you either have heard linked to the Saints or that you like kind of would like them to go after?
Good question.
We talked about the guy from Philadelphia who's the Nakobe Dean, who's linked to the Cowboys. Anybody out there for the Saints that you like?
So the one that I heard, and I think I mentioned on the show a couple weeks ago, is Gainwell, the running back from previously with the Eagles, but with the Steelers most recently. Obviously, he and Kellen Moore were together in Philadelphia. So that's
Memphis Tiger.
Kenneth Gainwell, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there you go. So I'm not saying that. I mean, I wouldn't be like. I wouldn't do a backflip if they signed him, but I mean, it's, somebody that could give him some help with Kamara in the backfield. The one that a lot of Saints fans are, I've seen a lot of Saints fans talking about since the offseason started, is David Edwards, who is an interior offensive lineman from the Bills, I believe, who's kind of one of the top interior offensive linemen. Again, I've talked about it ad nauseum on the show. The Saints' biggest weakness right now on offense is that interior of the offensive line, from left guard to right guard and center. McCoy's great when he's healthy, but he's not healthy all the time. So I think
you're Ryan Coogler right now because you're banking out. You really need some centers.
Yes, I do. We obviously, and Ross and I talked about it last week, Luke Fortner stepped in admirably for McCoy last year. So it'd be nice to bring him back on kind of a nice cheap deal, just to have him as some backup. If they could trade Cesar Ruiz and get decent compensation back, I would be totally fine with that.
Have you reached out to the Chargers again? I know that they get into
that worked. Yeah, that worked.
Last time.
I felt like an idiot because last week I was like, wait, who played left guard for the Saints? And Ross was like, well, it was Trevor Penning, and then it was Dylan Radance, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I don't remember it because they both sucked.
You repressed that memory.
Yeah, I repressed that memory. Yeah, I mean, the Travis Etienne's name has started to pop up for the Saints as obviously he is a Louisiana native.
He has the French last name. Obviously, that's a big
French last name. Obviously, that helps. The Saints do. Ross and I talked a little bit about the Saints do have to spend, I think, upwards of $50 million to avoid the salary floor penalty or something like that.
So y'all are way under the cap.
No. We're over. It's just that
there's a cash floor.
There's a cash floor, and we have to. So, but as Ross pointed out last week, as he educated me last week, if you re-sign somebody, that counts. So, if they re-signed Demario Davis, let's say, whatever they use to re-sign him, that counts towards that floor. It's something like in a 3-year window, you have to spend so much cash. And I think the Saints are not the only team in this position, but I think it's around $50 million that they have to spend this offseason. So some people looked at that as oh man, the Saints are going to go crazy free agency. And Ross wrote about it on LouisianaSports.net. He talked about it with me last week. That's not necessarily the case. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, in terms of other free agents, I'm actually curious to see if free agents view New Orleans as a destination. With a year of Kellen Moore, obviously Brandon Staley, I talked with Ross last week. One of the biggest pleasant surprises of last season was Brandon Staley's defense, especially down the stretch. And, Brandon Staley was a head coach for the Chargers. Another name I've heard linked with the Saints is Asante Samuel Jr., who was a corner for the Chargers under Brandon Staley. once upon a time. So obviously there's that connection. And again, if they lose Alontae Taylor, their two starting corners would be Quincy Riley and Kool-Aid McKinstry, who have a combined 3 years of experience between them. So, like, bringing in someone like Asante Samuel Jr. would be good for, from a experience standpoint to help. So, yeah, and also I kind of mentioned like Alec Pierce. I don't think they can afford Alec Pierce from the Colts, but a receiver who's not. Don't go get Brandon Cooks again. Like let's not do that.
Like the Bills,
but yeah, like the Bills. Actually, let me pull up the. I'm gonna pull up NFL top free agents. Yeah, we're not going to be in the George Pickens business. We're not going to be in the trade. A couple people want Trey Hendrickson to come back with the Saints. Obviously, that's where he started his career. But again, I don't think we're going to be in that. Signing Mike Evans would be interesting. I don't think that would happen, though. I've seen people talk about like going after Kenneth Walker. I think ATN is probably going to be cheaper, and well, ATN's older too, so I mean that matters. Tyler Linderbaum from the Ravens would be great. He's
the big name on the center market. It feels like he's going to have a lot of suitors.
The team I hear with him is the Giants because of Harbaugh. I mean, obviously Harbaugh is now the coach there, and so there's that connection. I think it was NFL.com did like a best fits, or somebody did like a best fits a couple weeks ago, and the only one they really put with the Saints was Gainwell, which makes sense. I don't know. I'm looking at some of these names. Elijah Vera Tucker from the Jets, who's another interior offensive lineman. He might be a little bit more cost efficient, or cost. What's the word I'm looking for? Might not cost as much.
Yeah, cost efficient. Cost efficient's the right. I think that's what you're looking for.
Cost efficient.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned if you look at the tight end market, so there's two tight ends. I'll just mention Cade Otton from Tampa Bay, who's been a very reliable.
Cotton.
Yes. He's been a very reliable target for Baker Mayfield over the last couple of years. I doubt he would come to New Orleans, but you never know. And then Isaiah Likely from Baltimore, who's out there on the market. I don't see why he would want to leave Baltimore, but you never know.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to get like more money than I feel like he's going to get more money than I would want to pay his particular profile. Just me personally. Fortunately, the Cowboys are not in the market for a tight end, I don't think.
And another receiver I'll just mention is Romeo Doubs. He might be.
Is he the like mushroom helmet guy? Is he the?
I think he is. Yeah, I think he is. I'm just looking at some other.
The lasting image I have of him is like in that game where the Cowboys and the Packers tied the season. Like he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns, and it was like the guy with the giant head. Like you can't cover that guy.
We lost them. We lost sight of him. He should be
the easiest one to find. What are we doing out here?
We lost sight of the guy with the big helmet. It's like Darth Helmet from Spaceballs out there.
Yeah, or it's a Megamind out there. We lost Megamind out there. That was your sign that the Cowboys defense was in trouble.
Another interior offensive lineman who is definitely out there and available is Wyatt Teller from the Browns. He posted a goodbye to Cleveland. Like Cleveland basically told him like, we're not going to re-sign you, so live long and prosper. Best of luck to you, kind of thing. I think there's some good options out there on the offensive line. I'm just really curious, like what these because like if you look at the quarterback market, not for the Saints obviously, but just in general. So we know Kyler's going to be out there. We know Malik Willis is going to be out there. We know Kirk Cousins is going to be out there. Now you throw in Derek Carr, which I'm not saying is a better option than those other three, but like he's out there.
It's a pretty thin quarterback market when you look at it. Like we got
more Daniel Jones is technically out there. I mean, if a team really wants to like mess around and throw him an offer sheet that the Colts could just match anyway.
Yeah, that feels like he's just going to end up back with the Colts. Like I feel like what does he have to gain from going somewhere else?
Yeah.
Either. Yeah. Like I think that's the other case because he's like kind of proven in that system that it works. Like you have a proof of concept there, and like you got to figure he's probably comfortable there. Like, what's the point of going and trying to chase like a little bit more money when you've got this like knee injury, or Achilles injury?
I know we talk about the CJ Stroud rumors about him possibly getting traded. I forget who it was that brought this up. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but like
we did talk about it because we talked about how the guy from the Houston Chronicle, the sports writer who'd been
for
so long,
right,
had said that like I won't make it down, and like he was like, the last time you made a declaration like this, you ended up eating a newspaper. So you might want to slow your roll there, John McCain.
That reminds me, another kind of surprising, I don't know if this surprises you, but it kind of surprised me, is like, it's pretty much understood that Deshaun Watson is going to be the Browns starting quarterback week 1. And I'm like, really? Like, that's
why?
For sure?
Like what?
I've read.
Someone needs to explain to me why, because like, what are you like? Maybe this guy will actually remember how to play after his Achilles surgery and after he sucked for 5 years. Like, is that what we're doing now? We're gonna like hope that the pervert can rediscover himself.
I do not envy Todd Monken right now. That's all I'll say. He definitely has his work cut out for him in that perspective. Yeah, I mean, the coach, the quarterback carousel. I did mention to Ross the Spencer Rattler of it all. Like, do you think the Saints trade Spencer Rattler? He kind of framed it as if Spencer had or if someone made an offer and they thought it would be a chance for Spencer to start, then they might. Because, I mean, Tyler Shuck has said it. I think Chris Olave said it as well after the season. They're like, Spencer Rattler deserves a starting job. Like, he deserves a chance. And right now, with the Saints, he says it's not going to happen. But again, if you're the Saints, you're one Tyler Shuck injury away from being back where you were, at this time last year, basically. So why would you trade away Spencer Rattler, who you know and who you trust, or familiar with at least? So
you got to figure that one of the teams that like misses out on the Malik Willis, whatever the QB carousel is this year, whoever misses out on those guys is going to talk themselves into Spencer Rattler though.
And the other name out there who's not technically out there yet, but is Tua. The Dolphins got a decision to make with Tua, and with the new coaching staff there, he might be. And someone I saw today, someone said it's very possible that this coaching carousel stops and Tua just doesn't have a seat, or he's got to go to a place and earn a job, basically, like earn a spot. I've heard Atlanta as a landing spot for Tua, and as a Saints fan, that I have no problem with that. Like, I mean, I know Stefanski's hell of a coach, but like Tua doesn't scare me, I would say, as a Saints fan.
I've kind of been off the Tua train for a while.
I mean, so if you look at the teams that are going to need a quarterback, I mean, so I would say everybody in the NFC East is good. I mean, obviously Jalen Hurts, that's going to be something else to watch this season, is like, does the Jalen Hurts free fall continue, and like, where does he? I sent you the clip of Bomani Jones on his show saying he'd rather Kyler Murray than Jalen Hurts at this point, which is, I figured you'd get a kick out of that.
Way to go,
NFC South. So the Falcons are in an interesting position. They're going to cut Kirk Cousins. Michael Penix is coming off an injury, so there could be an opening there. Obviously, Stefanski's a new coach. Keep an eye on that. NFC West, Cardinals are the main team. They're going to get rid of Kyler, so obviously that's a new quarterback. The NFC North, I think everybody's good, right? You got Love. Well, the Vikings.
Right, the Vikings. Well, I think there's rumor that they are done with their experiment with J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah. Derek Carr's name has come up with them. Aaron Rodgers' name even came up with them. If Rodgers just wants to follow the Favre career path.
There we go.
But and then the Lions, look, I talked about this at the end of the season. Like, I get Goff is still playing at a high level, but he's getting on the older side. Like, he's not a young pup anymore. So you probably need to start thinking about a succession plan for him. And obviously the Bears with Caleb, they're set for now, at least. AFC South, Tennessee's good, Houston's good. Well, we think Houston's good. Jacksonville, Indianapolis is being held over a barrel by Daniel Jones, who's coming off an ACL or a Achilles injury. AFC East, Bills are good, Patriots are good. Jets are going to need somebody. Looks like they're going to release Justin Fields and then figure it out from there. And then the Dolphins are going to need somebody. AFC North, Ravens are good. Browns, we just are a holy mess. We talked about that. Bengals are good. Steelers. I guess if Rodgers retires, then it becomes interesting. Like, who does McCarthy
Duck
turn
Hodges
to?
still there? Is that who? Is it
Will Howard?
Backup. Will Howard. Okay.
Yeah, Will Howard. Well, Will Howard was their draft pick last year, and the word was that people in the organization were impressed by him, but that was before McCarthy was hired. So I don't know what McCarthy's thoughts are on Will Howard. AFC West, Kansas City's good. Now if Mahomes is going to miss time, which he might, then maybe they say, okay, we'll sign Kirk Cousins to start the first 3 weeks.
Maybe they'll bring back Carson Wentz.
Or Carson Wentz, yeah, sure. Why not? The Broncos, I think Nix is going to – I need to ask Donnie. I think Nix is going to be ready for the season. I don't know that for sure. They could probably stand an upgrade at backup quarterback, honestly, given how Stidham performed in the AFC Championship game. But Raiders are going to have Mendoza. They could probably bring a veteran just to help support them. And then who am I missing? Chiefs. Oh, the Chargers with Herbert. Yeah, they're fine. Yeah, so I think that's it. I think we've quickly ran through. So, yeah, so it's not a lot of landing spots for quarterbacks. And to your point, like the caliber of who's out there is not – it's,
No one's beating down the door to sign Tua.
or trade for Derek Carr, apparently. So be an interesting offseason. So again, everything's going to really start. So next week when we join you, the tampering window will be open. We'll probably have some news of like, oh, this guy's going to go here and this guy's expected to sign here. So we'll obviously talk about that. When's the spelling bee? When's that coming up?
That will be in May. So I think it'll be
in May. Okay. So
it'll be right after the draft because I remember this because it was always on during the final exams in high school.
Okay.
So
we'll have maybe back-to-back watch-alongs. So we'll have the first round of the draft, and then not too long after that, we'll do the spelling bee.
Let me see if I can get the date for that, actually. It's at the end of May. So we'll have draft at the end of April, and then at the end of May, We'll have the spelling bee.
So we'll have about 3 or 4 weeks between. Okay.
Paul, I want to I want to give a shout out. The Dallas Stars are up 6-1 right now on the Calgary Flames.
Wow.
They're on the verge of winning their 10th straight game. So they are
wow.
The Dallas Stars are killing it right now. So go Stars.
And did the Stars have anybody on the U.S. hockey team on the gold medal team?
I think Jake Ottinger was the backup goalie.
Okay.
I know they had a lot of players on the Finnish hockey team. So like Miro Heiskanen, Mikko Rantanen, and a couple other guys. So the Stars have like a lot of Finnish players, and they actually call them the Finnish Mafia. So
nice.
Yeah. So if you ever need some fun facts, did you? I sent you this, but I need to get one of those, the Finland hockey, the Olympic hockey shirt.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a sweet jersey. I'm gonna have to give me one of those.
Gotcha. All right. So yeah, when we come back next week, we'll have hopefully maybe some news, some free agency news. We'll see. Maybe the Cowboys have made a splash. Maybe the Saints have made a splash. We'll see what's what as that goes. Probably do some more. Do we want to? Well, maybe as we get closer to the draft, we'll do a mock. Maybe we'll do a mock draft on the show, just like a one-round type of mock draft. Maybe try to get a guest.
Yeah, we did that last year, and it worked out pretty well, I think.
Try to get a guest on the show, maybe to tell us where we're right. And obviously, like we talked about this whole show, like free agency is going to play a big part of that. So this is kind of the first step of the process, free agency, and then the draft comes along after that. But as I mentioned with Ross last week, I feel much better as a Saints fan right now than I did 12 months ago. Because I mean, we were on the show a year ago, and it's like, I don't know. We have no. Well, Carr doesn't want to be here. We don't have a head coach. Well, we had a head coach by that point.
Well, I think we're both in the same boat because, like, I mean, nobody was happy with the Brian Schottenheimer hire once that happened as well. So
that's true. That's true.
We're both feeling a lot better this year than we were.
But I think the Schottenheimer. I want to say that one. I mean, we're looking through. Hindsight is 2020, but felt like that one because it was an internal hire. That one maybe felt a little better. Like the Saints was just like
I don't know about you. I don't. There were some words said in my Cowboys group chats that were.
But like from a Saints perspective, it's like nobody wants to coach this team, and we're just like settling, for lack of a better phrase, for Kellen Moore, who just wants a job. But here we are, and onward and upward. So
this is the second time that the Cowboys have had an offensive coordinator who eventually went on to be the Saints head coach.
Yeah, Sean Payton. Yeah, all those years ago.
Yep.
And he worked out pretty good. He worked out okay. Although I will add my voice to the chorus of people who are tired of every offseason him telling the Mahomes story.
We've heard Sean.
We've heard it. Yeah, we get it. I found it funny. Somebody, because he was on Rich Eisen's show right before the Combine, he was telling the Mahomes story again. And somebody retweeted, it's like, why does he never talk about the Marcus Davenport story or the, like nobody ever asks him about Marcus Davenport or, the guys he actually did draft who sucked, like nobody ever talks about that. But anyway. All right. Well, we will see everybody next week. Like I said, we'll have some free agency news, I would imagine. Maybe college basketball.
Oh yeah, so
March Madness
not next week, but the week after will be March Madness, and I will be in Las Vegas to gamble on the games.
Wow! Yeah, how about that? You'll be on assignment. You'll be on assignment.
We'll be on assignment
in Las Vegas. All right, so I guess I gotta find a guest for 2 weeks from now.
Well, I'm leaving Wednesday, so I should still be able to do the show Tuesday.
Okay. Well, there we go. All right. Well, hopefully everybody has a good week. Take it easy, everyone, and happy football, everybody.
Go Stars.